What's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. New video. So today, this one may be a little bit controversial, but we're grown, right? We're all grown. This is a grown folks channel, and we need to have a dialogue. And we need to have a dialogue where we're not BSing each other. We're calling it how it is. So these protests, I did a video on the protests the other day, right? People that are allegedly protesting deportations. And I was thinking about something. And this is, I don't know if it's a secret, but I'm going to put it out there. So we had a few years ago when you had the whole Black Lives Matter protests, the whole movement, the Black Lives Matter movement and the protests, and there was a lot of stuff going on, right? And as a Mexican in this country, I have to be honest and say there were so many Mexicans saying, man, these guys are acting like crybabies. The hell they out there protesting for, man? They ain't gonna get nothing done. That was initially, right? And now, look at all these same people that were saying that. They're out there now, right? Here's another problem I have with these so-called protests. Just like with the BLM movement, the BLM protests, it started allegedly because of a certain group of events, right? And then next thing you know, you would see BLM protests, air quotes, BLM protests. And you would see more white people than anything, okay? You weren't seeing what it initially was. No, what you were seeing is you were seeing a lot of looting, a lot of rioting, a lot of theft, a lot of crime, masquerading itself as a protest. I believe that's what we already have here. I believe, and I don't think anybody can change my mind. I believe that there's a certain group of people in this nation who are anarchists, who love an excuse to create chaos. And what happens is it turns off the majority. The majority is like, so for this protest, they had to go and loot the Apple store, the Nike store. And in these Mexican protests, so-called deportation protests, it's parties, it's people doing sideshows and donuts and smoking weed and burning flags. If we go back, if you look at the protests of the 50s and the 60s, the 70s, they were solemn protests. They were people that were marching in solidarity. They had articulate people doing interviews, speaking for them. Those people were able to get their point across. They knew what they were out there for. If you put some of these dudes, if you put a majority of these guys that are so-called protesting right now, if you put a camera in front of them, hey, fuck this shit, man. That's what you're going to hear. This is some bullshit, man. That's not a good look. This thing is going to boil over into a spectacle, a worse spectacle than it already is. And I'm going to say right now, these kids that are doing this stuff, they don't want to listen to their elders. Because we're not fun. And I know it's going to cause more harm than good. I see a lot of raza, a lot of Mexican Americans on TikTok and IG asking our fellow brothers and sisters that are out there, what are you doing? What are you doing? You guys are stopping freeways. So you're protesting the fact that people who came illegally are being deported. And the way you're protesting it is by doing further criminal illegal acts. These aren't peaceful protests. You have people that are struggling from paycheck to paycheck, and you're stopping them up from getting to work. Or you're stopping them up from getting off work to their kids that they got to go pick up somewhere. Where are the articulate people that can get in front of the cameras and pull at the heartstrings of people? Because this ain't it. This right here is not going to do it. Burning stuff. I love my people. I am proud to be Mexican in America. But you cannot wave another nation's flag when you're protesting this government and then be like, I'm going to convince you by waving a flag of a country I don't want to go back to and I don't want my family to go back to. You know, there's some raza that disagree with me and they're outnumbered. If you look in the comments, there's more that are saying this is right, that we as raza need to step up and we need to speak up. The process needs to be streamlined. But we need to know who's coming into this country. I said it the other day and I'll say it again. I'm not changing from that. This is not it, guys. This is not how you convince people to be on your side and say, you know what? These guys that are breaking into stores and these guys that are stopping the freeways and these guys that are doing these sideshows and making a mockery of protests, you know what? They deserve to be here. Look at them. Look at how I mean, it's obvious they belong here just by the way they're acting. It's not going to work like that. It isn't. Anybody who feels the same way as I do, and if you have a family member that's planning on going to one of these protests, how about you try to talk them out of it? Or at least tell them, hey, when you go, if you see stuff like this, if you see the stuff that's not right, how about you get away from it, come back home? And we try to formulate a different plan. And we get like-minded individuals together that can be a good representation of why people should be allowed to stay. Because I know these field workers, I know damn well the field workers, the laborers, these paisas are seeing all these Chicanos. And I don't even like using that word because to me it's a separation of Mexicanos. But I'm going to use it in this situation. The paisas are seeing all these Chicanos do this stuff, and I know they're probably like, what the hell? You are not helping their situation. You guys that are doing these sideshows and burning the flags and waving these other flags, you guys were born here. That's why you're in the streets doing this. You're not affected, but you are negatively impacting and affecting the people that you so-called want to help. And when you guys go to these protests, I want you to pay attention to people who are not the same ethnicity as you. And pay attention to what they do, because they're going to be the first ones to throw a bottle. They're going to be the first ones to throw a rock through a store window and climb on in there. I'm telling you, they did the same thing with BLM. These agitators don't care about whatever it is the people are mad about or want to protest over. All they care about is anarchy. They're going to be they fly in from everywhere, and they're going to be at every protest, and they're going to be the ones throwing rocks, throwing bottles, instigating incidents with the cops. And then guess what? They get back on the plane after the weekend warrior stuff, the fun and games, and they go back to whatever state they're from. And they tell their friends, and then you know what? Their friends want to come next time. But they're not, it's not their backyard. It's not their fight. And those of you that do want to fight, do it intelligently. Because I promise you, man, you are not helping. The type of this stuff that's going on is not a protest, man. And people get that mob mentality where you get in a group with other people and then you start feeling yourself. You start feeling invincible. And the police are going to have to engage people at some point. And it's not going to be a good look. It's not going to be a pretty sight. And then what happens? More protests. Meanwhile, it just solidifies in the minds of a lot of people that, you know what? These people got to go. If this is what they're going to do to prove that they should be here and they deserve to be here, then they don't. That's my video for today. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Everybody, please be safe, be smart, and tell the ones you love that you love them, man. I'm out of here.